Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right, we're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go!
I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
I think we have to be the luckiest class in the whole school, boasted Levi as he strolled down the street with his sister Ivy and their best friend Ellie. You're totally right, agreed Ivy. I couldn't imagine having a better teacher. Or a better class pet, interrupted Ellie with a giggle, stopping in her tracks and holding up a small gray pet carrier. The three friends looked inside and made eye contact with the cutest, sweetest, and silliest lizard around, Leo. Leo was their class pet, and finally, Levi, Ivy, and Ellie were in charge of taking care of him after school. As they walked, they shared stories about their favorite Leo moments, like the time the class dressed him up for Halloween as a cowboy, or the funny way he nibbles his lettuce, or how he snores sometimes during math class when he's sleeping on the big rock in his tank. Well, I think math is pretty boring sometimes too, laughed Levi after telling the story. And in addition to making sure their classroom buddy was happy and well looked after that afternoon, their teacher also gave them the task of running to the pet store in town to get Leo more lizard food. How cool is it that we get to take Leo to the pet store to pick out food? Asked Ivy with a big grin. I wonder what we should get him. How about cheese pizza or cupcakes or fries? Said Levi, who was always thinking of food. While that sounds good to all of us, I think Leo would prefer something a little more mealwormy, said Ellie as they continued their walk. You are one cute lizard, Leo, but your food choices are super gross, laughed Ivy. You two can still come over after we go to the pet store, right? Asked Ellie. We'll have dinner at my house and play with Leo. Levi and Ivy nodded their heads. They loved spending time with Ellie. She had been one of their best friends since they first started school. As they continued to talk about all the things they were going to do with Leo, they rounded the corner towards the pet store. And as they did, they saw something amazing. A huge group of people, colorful balloons, dogs, and puppies everywhere, and a huge banner stretched across the door of the pet store that read, Adopt a Dog Day. Wow, look at that, called out Ellie. They're having an adoption event. My cousins just went to one of these, and that's where they got their new golden doodle puppy. He's so cute. I bet there are lots and lots of cute puppies and dogs at this event too, said Ivy. Let's go check it out. So with Leo snuggled up in his pet carrier, they ran over to see. And sure enough, they were right. There must have been 25 puppies running around in little fenced-in enclosures just outside the pet store. And that didn't even count the puppies they could see through the big front window inside the store. Oh, I just have to snuggle those puppies. We have to get inside, said Ivy. But the crowds were so big that they couldn't make it through the front door of the pet store. I think there's an entrance around the back, said Ellie. Follow me. The pet store was old and made of red, dusty bricks that were covered in crawling ivy. It almost looked like a magical castle. Once around back, they looked for a door but couldn't find one. I was almost positive there was a door back here, said Ellie, scratching her head. And as she spoke, a magical breeze rustled through the ivy on the walls of the pet store. The breeze swirled around Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo as they watched as Ivy began to shift and move until it created a doorway in the brick wall. Inside, they could see a mystical-looking world filled with light, music, and so many puppies. That doesn't look like the inside of the pet store, said Levi, but it does look pretty amazing. Well, there's only one way to find out, said Ivy as she motioned for all of them to step through the doorway, and so they did. Once inside the amazing magical new world, the doorway in the ivy-covered brick wall closed behind them. However, they were too interested in all the amazing things going on in front of them that they didn't even notice. The world they had entered was completely filled with adorable, excited, and playful puppies. That's when they saw a large sign in the center of the beautiful meadow that read, Welcome to Puppy World. As they wandered closer, just taking it all in, the most beautiful and vibrant blue butterfly fluttered by. It was being playfully chased by a little golden retriever. Excuse me, barked the little golden puppy. Sure thing, replied Ellie before she realized what had just happened. Her eyes got wide as she looked at Levi and Ivy, who were also reacting the same way. Did that puppy just, began Levi. Talk to Ellie? Ivy finished his sentence. Okay, so you heard it too, replied Ellie. I also heard it, came a small voice from inside the pet carrier. Leo? Was that you? The three friends asked together, looking into the carrier. It sure was, said Leo, popping out of his pet carrier and onto Ellie's shoulder. All the animals can talk here, including me. I've waited so long to be able to say hello to you and thank you for being the best class and friends ever. Levi, Ivy, and Ellie couldn't believe what they were hearing, but since they didn't want to miss a minute of it, they quickly got comfortable in puppy world. And before they could even take a step, the little golden retriever from earlier trotted over to them and introduced himself. Hi, I'm Goldie. Welcome to Puppy World, he said, wagging his tail excitedly. We always love to have visitors. Let me show you around. Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo said hello to Goldie and then quickly followed him, taking it all in with huge smiles on their faces as cute, playful puppies scampered all around. There was a little corgi playing with a chew toy cheeseburger that must have been at least twice his size, a mini chihuahua chasing bumblebees and butterflies, and the tiniest, fluffiest poodle they'd ever seen running through the long grass in the meadow. Every puppy looked so happy, except for three. They sat on the edge of the meadow sadly, not looking happy at all. Goldie, why are those puppies so sad? Asked Ivy. Those puppies are looking for their forever homes, Goldie began. They haven't been adopted yet, and they're scared that it won't happen. As Levi, Ivy, and Ellie looked at the puppies, they quickly started thinking about their own homes. Even though Puppy World was wonderful, they started to get a little nervous, wondering how they would get back home. That's when they turned around and noticed the doorway they had entered through was gone. Goldie, since that magical opening in the pet store wall closed when we entered Puppy World, how are we supposed to get back home? Ellie asked, holding Leo tight. Don't worry, said Goldie. I know a way, and it involves helping those three little puppies over there find their perfect forever homes. Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo confidently accepted the challenge and went over to meet the three little puppies. Lucky for us, Puppy World is also having an Adopt a Dog Day event, said Goldie. So there are lots of people here looking for puppies. It's just all about finding the right person for each dog. Goldie first introduced the group to a mischievous Dalmatian named Dash. Dash loved running, and the group quickly found that out as they walked over. Dash got so excited to see people walking over to play with him that he started running from one end of the meadow to the other. Slow down, buddy, called out Goldie. These nice people are here to help you find your forever home. Upon hearing that, Dash screeched to a halt in front of Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo. Wow, thank you so much, said Dash. But how are you going to find the right person to adopt me? Levi, Ivy, and Ellie thought for a moment, and then suddenly they had an idea. We need to find someone who shares the same interests as you, began Ivy. That's right, continued Levi. Like how we all became friends. Ivy and I were playing tag in the park. Then Ellie walked over and said she loved tag too. We started playing together, added Ellie, and we've been best friends ever since. Sounds like a good plan to me, said Dash as they all walked over to a big group of people at the adoption event. Dash, can you get some of your puppy friends together for a friendly race? Asked Ellie. Sure, replied Dash, gathering up a few puppies. On your mark, get set, go, called out Leo and Ellie. Dash and his friends took off toward the end of the meadow. Dash was clearly in the lead and won the race with no problem at all. Wow, that was amazing, said a voice from the crowd. I've been looking for a dog that can keep up with my running pace. It turned out the man in the crowd was big into running and wanted to share his love of the sport with his dog. Dash and the runner quickly bonded, and before he knew it, Dash was watching the man sign the adoption papers to take him home. Thank you so much, called out Dash as he ran off wagging his tail. Next, Goldie introduced Pippa, a little Pomeranian who loved to sing but lacked the confidence to let her voice be heard. After meeting the group, Pippa was so excited to see if they could help her like they helped Dash. I would love for the person who adopts me to love music as much as I do, whispered Pippa. Well, you just need to let your talent shine, said Ivy, trying to encourage Pippa. Maybe if someone hears your beautiful voice, they'll see you're the perfect dog for them. Come on, I'll sing with you. Everyone, can I have your attention? Called out Goldie to everyone in the adoption event. Please join me in listening to the music of Pippa and Ivy. Everyone clapped as Pippa and Ivy got ready to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. It took Pippa a minute to get up the courage, but once she did, her gentle little voice sailed through the air and no one could deny how talented she was. As she sang, another voice from the crowd blended in with hers. The sound was beautiful. A woman stepped through the sea of people and walked right up to Pippa. You sound marvelous, and I would love to sing with you more, said the woman. Do you think you'd like to come home with me? Yes, 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 sang Pippa as she jumped into the woman's arms. Thank you so much, called back Pippa to Ivy. Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo were so excited to have helped 2 little puppies get adopted, but they knew they had to help one more in order to get back home themselves. Goldie then introduced them to a very smart border collie named Bolt. He had quite the knack for solving puzzles and needed someone with just the same appetite for learning that he had to take him home. I think I know how we can help you, Bolt, began Levi. I love puzzles too, especially mazes. If everyone can see how quick you make it through my maze, there's no way someone who loves puzzles too wouldn't want to adopt you today. Bolt was up for trying anything at this point and was ready to impress everyone with his speedy maze-solving skills. Levi set up something quickly and asked everyone to watch as Bolt solved the maze in seconds flat. Incredible, called a voice from the crowd. I've never seen anything like it. Do you like solving math problems and science riddles too? I sure do, said Bolt, barking happily. Then I think you'd make a great pet for me and my classroom, said a woman who was a 4th grade teacher. Bolt could have not been happier and shouted a big thank you to the group before he ran off with his new person. I know Bolt is going to love being a classroom pet, said Leo, and if he's lucky, he'll meet some truly amazing friends just like I have. I'm so happy that I've had this opportunity to talk to you and tell you that. Your friendship means the world to me. Levi, Ivy, and Ellie smiled at Leo, and even though they were having a great time in Puppy World, they knew it was time to go home. Goldie thanked his new friends so much for all they had done and hoped they would come back and visit soon. You bet we will, said Levi. I hope so. Now just follow me and you'll see the doorway in the wall has opened back up and you can head home, said Goldie as he waved goodbye to Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo. As the group stepped back into the real world, the ivy swirled and grew to cover the doorway, and just like that, Puppy World was gone. They all stood around silent for a minute, trying to figure out if what they had experienced was real or not. That was incredible, right? Asked Levi. Totally amazing, said Ivy. Unbelievable, added Ellie. But Leo, now back in the real world, didn't say a word. He simply smiled at his friends, but that smile said everything. How about we go inside and get your lizard food now, said Levi as they walked inside the pet store. But just before they did, Ellie called out, Look at that butterfly! And as they all turned to look, they saw the exact same beautiful, vibrant blue butterfly that they saw in Puppy World. You don't think? Asked Levi. Maybe, said Ivy with a smirk as a small Dalmatian, a petite Pomeranian, and a tiny border collie walked out of the pet store on the way to their forever homes. As they did, Levi, Ivy, and Ellie were almost positive that they heard them say a quiet little puppy-sized, "Thank you again," as they walked by. Maybe it was all in their heads, or maybe their trip to Puppy World was real. Either way, those puppies had found their forever homes, and Levi, Ivy, Ellie, and Leo could have not been happier.
Want to start a podcast? Spotify has an easy, free platform called Spotify for Podcasters. Here's how it works. Record and edit your podcast on your phone or computer with ease. Share your podcast on Spotify and all other major platforms. You can even make video podcasts on Spotify. If you want to engage with your audience more, use Q&A and polls. You can earn money through ads and podcast subscriptions. It's completely free, no hidden cost. Give it a try. Visit www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. We love making our podcast, and working with Spotify has been amazing. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun, lively Lewis story with you.